In the summer of 2023, Dr. Elena Reyes stood at the edge of a vast excavation site in the Gobi Desert, Mongolia. The scorching sun beat down on her back as she carefully brushed away centuries of sand from what appeared to be an anomalous metallic structure buried 60 meters beneath the surface. For 3 years, her team had been investigating unusual energy readings detected by satellite imaging, but nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to uncover. "We need to document everything," she called to her colleague, Dr. Tenzin Dorje, who was already setting up advanced imaging equipment. "Whatever this is, it doesn't match any known human civilization's metallurgical capabilities." The structure was composed of an unknown alloy that preliminary tests suggested was at least 200,000 years old, long before modern humans had developed sophisticated tools, let alone metallurgy. This finding directly contradicted established archaeological timelines of human technological development. As news of the discovery spread through academic circles, mainstream archaeology responded with predictable skepticism. Dr. James Whitman of Cambridge University dismissed the findings as wishful thinking by fringe scientists looking for attention. The established academic consensus held firm. Human civilization began with agricultural settlements roughly 12,000 years ago, with metallurgy developing much later. But Elena and her team were about to shatter this consensus completely. "There's a pattern to these markings," noted Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, the team's linguist, as he studied the intricate symbols etched into the structure's surface. "They appear to be a form of written language, but unlike anything in our historical record." 3 months later, similar structures were discovered in remote locations around the world: the highlands of Peru, the depths of the South China Sea, and beneath the ice sheets of Antarctica. Each bore identical markings and consisted of the same unknown alloy. Carbon dating confirmed they all originated from the same time period, approximately 200,000 years ago. Dr. Sophie Laurent, a renowned paleontologist who joined Elena's growing international research coalition, posed the question that would come to define their work. If humans didn't build these structures, then who or what did? The mystery deepened when ground-penetrating radar revealed that these structures were merely the surface elements of vast underground complexes. The first breakthrough in understanding them came from Dr. Tanaka, who after months of computational analysis determined that the symbols represented a form of mathematical language. "It's a universal communication system based on prime numbers and molecular structures," he explained during a contentious presentation at the International Archaeological Congress in Cairo. "The complexity suggests it was designed to be understood regardless of cultural context, almost as if whoever created it anticipated it would be discovered by beings different from themselves." His statement was met with uncomfortable silence, followed by an eruption of objections from the academic establishment. But the evidence was becoming harder to dismiss. The turning point in public perception came when a team of engineers and physicists led by Dr. Aisha Mbeki successfully activated part of the Gobi Desert structure using targeted electromagnetic pulses. The structure responded by projecting a 3-dimensional holographic map of the solar system, but with one startling difference. It showed Earth as it existed 200,000 years ago, with significantly different coastlines and geological features. News outlets worldwide broadcast the images, forcing even the most skeptical academics to acknowledge that they were dealing with technology far beyond what ancient humans could have created. Overnight, humanity faced a profound question. If not our ancestors, then who built these structures? The answer began to emerge from the Antarctic site, where Dr. Carlos Vega's team discovered a sealed chamber containing preserved organic material. Initial genetic analysis revealed DNA structures that shared some basic components with Earth life, but contained numerous unknown elements and arrangements. "Whatever left these remains was not from Earth," Dr. Vega stated at a UN-sponsored press conference that was watched by over 2 billion people. "The genetic structure suggests an organism that evolved under different environmental conditions than those found on our planet." The implications were staggering. Evidence was mounting that an advanced non-human species had visited Earth 200,000 years ago and established installations around the planet. But the most challenging questions remained unanswered. Who were they? Where did they come from? And most importantly, why did they come to Earth? As researchers continued to study the structures and their contents, they began to piece together a narrative that would forever change humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. The structures appeared to be monitoring stations designed to collect data about Earth's environment, geological activity, and biological evolution. They contained sophisticated technology that had continued to function for millennia, powered by what appeared to be a form of zero-point energy. Dr. Elena Reyes, now leading the United Earth Research Initiative, summarized their findings in a historic address to the United Nations General Assembly. What we are uncovering is nothing less than evidence of an advanced civilization that visited Earth long before modern humans emerged. They possessed technology that we are only beginning to understand, and they took a specific interest in our planet's development. We believe they may have been monitoring the evolutionary process that eventually led to our species. The announcement sent shockwaves through religious, scientific, and political institutions worldwide. Some religious leaders incorporated the findings into existing theological frameworks, suggesting that these beings might have been the angels or gods described in ancient texts. Scientific communities rapidly reorganized to focus on the new evidence, with entire departments dedicated to understanding the visitors' technology and purpose. As Chapter 1 of this extraordinary story comes to a close, humanity stands at the threshold of a new understanding of its origins. The discovery has united people across national and cultural boundaries in a shared quest for answers. But as researchers continue to unlock the secrets of these ancient structures, they are beginning to suspect that the visitors didn't just monitor Earth's development, they may have actively shaped it, and the evidence suggesting their return was mounting. The revelation that Earth had been visited by an advanced non-human civilization 200,000 years ago fundamentally transformed humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. But as researchers continued to study the artifacts and structures left behind, a more profound and unsettling truth began to emerge. These visitors hadn't merely observed Earth's development, they had deliberately intervened in it. Dr. Samira Khatri, a geneticist working at the Peruvian site, made the breakthrough discovery. While analyzing DNA samples extracted from the site's sealed biological repository, she identified sequences that appeared in both the visitors' genetic material and in modern human DNA. These sequences don't appear in any other primate species, she explained during a closed-door meeting of the United Earth Research Initiative. They're completely absent in Neanderthals and other hominid species that evolved naturally on Earth, but they're present in Homo sapiens, beginning approximately 195,000 years ago, shortly after the visitors established their presence here. The implications were staggering. The visitors had genetically modified early hominids, accelerating their cognitive development and creating what would eventually become modern humans. This finding was corroborated by newly deciphered information from the structure's data repositories. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka and his team of linguists and mathematicians had finally cracked significant portions of the visitors' mathematical language, revealing what appeared to be detailed records of genetic engineering experiments conducted on early human ancestors. The data suggests they selected specific hominid populations and introduced genetic modifications over multiple generations, Dr. Tanaka reported. These modifications primarily affected brain development, vocal tract structure, and fine motor control, the very attributes that distinguish humans from other primates. When this information was cautiously released to the public, the response was tumultuous. Religious institutions worldwide struggled to reconcile these findings with their creation narratives. Scientific communities fractured between those embracing the new paradigm and those desperately clinging to human evolutionary independence. Governments faced civil unrest as populations grappled with the implications for human identity and purpose. In this climate of uncertainty, Dr. Elena Reyes made a decision that would prove controversial. She released all research findings to the public, unfiltered by political or institutional agendas. Humanity deserves to know its true origins, she stated. Only by understanding our past can we chart our future. As the initial shock subsided, researchers continued their work with renewed urgency. At the Antarctic site, Dr. Carlos Vega's team discovered what appeared to be historical records preserved in crystalline data storage devices. The information contained therein painted a picture of who the visitors were and why they had come to Earth. They called themselves the Anunnaki, Dr. Vega revealed, using the closest phonetic approximation in human language, they came from a planet in a star system approximately 39 light-years from Earth. Their world was dying, its atmosphere deteriorating due to advanced industrial development. They searched for a planet with similar basic conditions where they could establish a new home. The records indicated that the Anunnaki had initially planned to terraform Earth to make it more suitable for their physiology. However, they discovered that Earth's biosphere was remarkably resilient and diverse, presenting an opportunity they hadn't anticipated. Rather than transform the planet, they chose to transform themselves, or rather, to create a new species that could thrive in Earth's environment while retaining their advanced cognitive capabilities, explained Dr. Laurent. They didn't want to destroy Earth's ecosystem, they wanted to become part of it. The Anunnaki had selected early hominids as the baseline for their experiments due to their adaptability, social structures, and basic tool use. Over thousands of years, they gradually introduced genetic modifications, guiding human evolution toward greater intelligence, linguistic capability, and technological aptitude. But the records also revealed something unexpected. The Anunnaki had eventually abandoned Earth, returning to their home system approximately 12,000 years ago. Their departure coincided with the beginning of human agriculture and settled civilization, almost as if they had left deliberately once their created species had reached a certain developmental threshold. They seem to have concluded their work here once early humans demonstrated the capacity for independent cultural and technological development, noted Dr. Dorje. It's as if they considered their project complete. This revelation led to intense speculation about the Anunnaki's ultimate intentions. Had humans been created merely as an experiment, as caretakers for Earth in the Anunnaki's absence, or for some purpose not yet understood? Further study of the Antarctic records provided partial answers. The Anunnaki had apparently divided into factions over their Earth project. The dominant group advocated for minimal intervention, allowing their created species to develop independently. A smaller faction had pushed for continued guidance, arguing that without it, humans might repeat the same mistakes that had destroyed the Anunnaki's home world. The debate had ended with the decision to withdraw from Earth, but not before leaving behind monitoring stations that would track human development and serve as repositories of Anunnaki knowledge, the very structures now being discovered around the world. They wanted us to find this information eventually, said Dr. Reyes, but only when we had developed the technological capability and scientific understanding to comprehend it. These structures were designed to be discovered by a global civilization with advanced technology, a test of our readiness. As researchers continued to extract information from the Anunnaki databases, they discovered something even more profound. The visitors had left detailed records of their homeworld's environmental collapse, apparently as a warning to their created species. The parallels to Earth's current climate crisis were unmistakable. They destroyed their planet through unchecked industrial development and resource exploitation, Dr. Mbeki explained. The same path we've been following for the past 2 centuries. It's as if they wanted us to learn from their mistakes. This revelation catalyzed a global environmental movement unlike anything seen before. Nations that had resisted climate action now embraced radical sustainability initiatives. The knowledge that humans had been created by beings who had destroyed their own world through environmental negligence served as a powerful cautionary tale. But the most provocative discovery was yet to come. In the final data repository unlocked at the Gobi Desert site, researchers found what appeared to be a timetable, a schedule for the Anunnaki's planned return to Earth. According to their calculations, the visitors intended to come back approximately 500 years after humans developed global electronic communication networks, a milestone Earth had reached in the late 20th century. If these calculations are correct, Dr. Tanaka concluded with a mixture of awe and trepidation, the Anunnaki are due to return within our lifetime. As Chapter 2 closes, humanity faces not only the revelation of its engineered origins, but the prospect of reunion with its creators. Global powers begin preparations for potential contact, scientific communities accelerate efforts to understand Anunnaki technology, and ordinary people everywhere contemplate what it means to be human in light of these extraordinary discoveries. The countdown to the return has begun. The revelation that the Anunnaki, The alien race that had genetically engineered humanity planned to return within the current generation triggered unprecedented global cooperation. Former geopolitical rivals now worked together, understanding that the approaching contact would affect all of humanity equally. The United Nations expanded the mandate of the United Earth Research Initiative, now led by Dr. Elena Reyes, granting it extraordinary resources and authority. Research teams at the 4 primary sites, Mongolia, Peru, the South China Sea, and Antarctica, worked around the clock to extract every possible piece of information from the Anunnaki repositories before the projected contact. We need to understand who they are, why they created us, and what they'll expect upon their return, Dr. Reyes emphasized during a global broadcast that reached an estimated 5.8 billion viewers. This isn't just about scientific discovery anymore. It's about preparing humanity for a meeting with its makers. The Antarctic site yielded the most valuable insights into Anunnaki biology and psychology. Dr. Carlos Vega's team determined that despite their technological advancement, the Anunnaki shared certain fundamental traits with humans. Not surprising, given that they had engineered humanity using aspects of their own genetic code as templates. They experience emotions similar to ours, though perhaps with different intensities and triggers, Dr. Vega explained. They form social bonds, value knowledge acquisition, and demonstrate both competitive and cooperative behaviors. But their lifespans appear to be significantly longer, several hundred Earth years, which likely affects their perspective on time and progress. This extended lifespan helped explain the Anunnaki's patient approach to human development. They had guided hominid evolution over thousands of years, making subtle adjustments across generations, a time frame that would seem impossibly long to humans, but represented just a few generations for the Anunnaki themselves. Meanwhile, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka's linguistics team made significant progress in translating the Anunnaki language. They developed an algorithm that could convert between human languages and the mathematical-based communication system of the visitors, which would prove crucial for the anticipated contact. Their language reflects their cognition, Dr. Tanaka noted. It's highly precise and context-dependent. They don't distinguish between scientific facts and moral principles the way humans often do. For them, understanding the universe and acting in accordance with that understanding are inseparable. This insight into Anunnaki thinking raised profound questions about how they might judge humanity's development. Had humans fulfilled their creators' expectations, or would the Anunnaki find their creation disappointing or even dangerous? Dr. Samira Khatri's genetic research team discovered something unexpected in the Anunnaki biological records. The visitors had engineered limitations into human biology. They deliberately constrained certain aspects of our potential, she revealed during a controversial press conference. Our lifespan, our susceptibility to disease, even some cognitive parameters, all were calibrated to specific ranges. They could have made us more like themselves, but they chose not to. This finding sparked intense speculation about the Anunnaki's motives. Some researchers suggested these limitations were ethical guardrails, preventing humans from developing too quickly or unpredictably. Others proposed more troubling interpretations. Perhaps the limitations were designed to ensure humans remained subordinate to their creators. The South China Sea site, now housed within an enormous international research facility floating above the submerged structure, provided the clearest information about Anunnaki technology. Dr. A. Taisha Mbeki's engineering team made breakthroughs in understanding the principles behind the visitors' energy generation, materials science, and computational systems. Their technology isn't magical. It follows the same physical laws we do, Dr. Mbeki emphasized. The difference is that they understood these laws more completely and applied them more elegantly. They achieved controlled nuclear fusion 200,000 years ago. They manipulated quantum effects at room temperature. They developed materials that self-repair and computational systems that mimic biological neural networks. All of this is theoretically achievable for us. We're just centuries behind their development curve. This technological gap raised urgent questions about humanity's readiness for contact. Would the Anunnaki view humans as equals worthy of partnership, or as primitive creations still requiring guidance, or worse, correction? The Peruvian site, nestled high in the Andes, yielded perhaps the most surprising discovery: artistic and philosophical works created by the Anunnaki during their time on Earth. Dr. Sophie Laurent's cultural analysis team found visual compositions, musical notation, and abstract philosophical treatises preserved in the structure's databanks. They weren't just scientists and engineers, Dr. Laurent explained. They were artists, philosophers, and storytellers. They struggled with existential questions just as we do. They created works of beauty for its own sake. In some ways, this makes them more comprehensible to us than if they had been purely logical beings. The Anunnaki artwork depicted landscapes from their home world, abstract conceptual explorations, and, most touchingly, observations of early humans. The visitors had recorded and preserved the first human artistic expressions, the earliest songs, the first stories told around fires. They had valued these primitive cultural beginnings, seeing in them the seeds of what humanity might become. As researchers continued to assimilate this wealth of information, global society underwent rapid transformation in anticipation of the Anunnaki's return. Educational systems worldwide incorporated information about humanity's engineered origins. Religious institutions either adapted their theologies to accommodate the new reality or faced declining relevance. Economic systems began shifting away from short-term profit toward long-term sustainability, inspired by the cautionary tale of the Anunnaki's destroyed homeworld. The most visible change was the construction of a massive welcome center at a location specified in the Anunnaki records, a remote plateau in central Australia. The coordinates had been clearly marked in multiple repositories, apparently designated as the site for first contact upon the visitor's return. The Welcome Center became the largest international construction project in human history. Designed using principles gleaned from Anunnaki architectural preferences, the facility included landing areas for spacecraft, communication arrays calibrated to frequencies specified in the repositories, and meeting spaces designed to accommodate both human and Anunnaki physiological needs. Dr. Tenzin Dorje, who led the Welcome Center's development, explained its symbolic importance. This isn't just a practical facility, it's humanity's statement about who we've become. We're demonstrating that we've achieved global cooperation, that we've begun to overcome our tribal divisions, that we've reached a level of technological and social development worthy of our Creator's attention. As construction neared completion, Dr. Elena Reyes faced her most difficult challenge yet, selecting representatives for first contact. After extensive consultation with governments, scientific bodies, and cultural leaders worldwide, she assembled a diverse team of 12 individuals, scientists, diplomats, philosophers, and artists from various countries, cultures, and backgrounds. These 12 people will embody humanity's achievements, aspirations, and questions, she announced. They will speak not for their nations or organizations, but for our species as a whole. The 12 representatives underwent intensive training, studying everything known about Anunnaki culture, psychology, and expectations. They learned the basics of the visitors' mathematical language, practiced diplomatic scenarios, and prepared presentations on human development since the Anunnaki's departure. As the projected date of contact approached, calculated from the timetable found in the Gobi Desert repository, global anticipation reached unprecedented levels. Some fringe groups proclaimed the end of human independence, while others celebrated the imminent reunion with humanity's parents. Most people fell somewhere in between, anxious, curious, and profoundly aware that human history stood at its most significant turning point. Then, 3 months before the expected contact date, orbital telescopes detected an object approaching the solar system at relativistic speed, precisely matching the propulsion signature described in the Anunnaki records. "They're coming," Dr. Reyes confirmed in a global address that interrupted all broadcasting worldwide. "Humanity's creators are returning, and we will be ready to meet them." As Chapter 3 concludes, the 12 representatives take up residence at the Welcome Center, making final preparations for humanity's most important encounter. Global monitoring systems track the approaching Anunnaki vessel as it decelerates upon reaching the outer solar system. And Dr. Elena Reyes, who began this journey by uncovering a mysterious structure in the Gobi Desert, contemplates the question that now occupies every human mind. What do our creators want from us after all this time? The answer lies just beyond Earth's atmosphere. Growing closer by the day, the Anunnaki vessel entered Earth orbit on October 17, 2027, exactly 501 years after humans had developed global electronic communication networks. Its arrival was visible even to the naked eye, a gleaming silver crescent against the night sky that sparked celebrations, prayer vigils, and contemplative gatherings across the planet. For 7 days, the ship maintained its orbital position, silent despite humanity's continuous attempts at communication. Global leaders urged calm as speculation ran rampant about the visitors' intentions. Had they come to guide humanity further, to judge their creation, to reclaim Earth for themselves? On the 8th day, a smaller craft detached from the main vessel and began its descent toward the Welcome Center in Central Australia. Dr. Elena Reyes and the 12 representatives stood waiting on the central platform, their faces betraying a mixture of awe, apprehension, and profound curiosity as the craft settled silently before them. A moment of breathless anticipation followed. Then, with a soft chime that seemed to resonate through the very air, a doorway appeared in the craft's seamless hull. 3 figures emerged. They stood taller than humans, with slender limbs and elongated cranial structures. Their skin held a faint bluish tint that seemed to shimmer subtly in the sunlight. Most strikingly, their eyes, large, multifaceted, and deeply expressive, surveyed the gathered humans with unmistakable intelligence and what appeared to be genuine emotion. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, part of the welcoming delegation, activated the translation algorithm developed from the repository data. The lead Anunnaki responded immediately in the same mathematical language, which the algorithm converted to audio in multiple human languages simultaneously. "We greet our descendants," came the translated voice, resonant and measured. "We are pleased that you have discovered your origins and prepared for our return. I am Enki, Keeper of Development. With me are Ninma, Keeper of Balance, and Enlil, Keeper of Continuity." Dr. Elena Reyes stepped forward, her voice steady despite the moment's gravity. "On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to Earth, the world you visited long ago, and the home you helped us create for ourselves. We have many questions." "As do we," responded Enki. "You have developed differently than anticipated in some respects, yet remarkably true to projection in others. Before we exchange knowledge, we must understand what you have become." What followed was not the formal diplomatic exchange many had anticipated, but something far more profound, a genuine dialogue between creators and creation, spanning 3 days during which the Anunnaki asked as many questions as they answered. They inquired about human art, philosophy, social structures, and technological development. They studied humanity's greatest achievements and most catastrophic failures. They expressed particular interest in how humans had developed concepts of ethics and meaning without direct guidance. On the 4th day, Enki addressed a question that had preoccupied humanity since the discovery of its engineered origins. "You wish to know why we created you? The answer is complex, but at its core lies a simple truth. We sought to preserve not just our biological existence, but our perspective in the universe." Ninma, the female Anunnaki whose role as Keeper of Balance seemed to involve both scientific and philosophical functions, elaborated. "Our world was dying. We faced extinction. We could have simply transferred our consciousness to machines or modified ourselves to survive in different environments. But we recognized that such approaches would fundamentally change what we were. Instead, we chose to create a new species that would carry forward certain essential qualities of our consciousness while evolving in harmony with this world." "You are not copies of us," Enlil added, his tone more reserved than his companions. "You are a new creation, designed to thrive on Earth while embodying the cognitive and emotional capacities we valued most in ourselves. You were given the freedom to develop your own cultures, societies, and technologies, guided initially, but ultimately independent." This revelation prompted Dr. Sophie Laurent to ask why the Anunnaki had abandoned Earth 12,000 years ago, just as human civilization was beginning to develop. "We did not abandon you," Enki corrected gently. "We completed the most critical phase of your development and then deliberately withdrew to allow your independent evolution. Our continued presence would have made you perpetually dependent on us, children never permitted to mature. Your development required separation, Ninma explained. You needed to make your own choices, learn from your own mistakes, and find your own path forward. Had we remained, you would have forever looked to us for answers rather than discovering them yourselves. The Anunnaki revealed that their departure had not been complete. They had established a small monitoring outpost on Mars, from which they had observed human development without interference. Meanwhile, their main population had traveled to another star system, where they had established a new colony. "Why have you returned now?" asked Dr. Tenzin Dorje, voicing the question on everyone's mind. Enki's multifaceted eyes seemed to dim slightly before he answered. "Our colony is struggling. Despite all our knowledge and technology, we have found it difficult to adapt to our new world. We have come to believe that we made a fundamental error in our approach, that your path of adaptation and development may hold wisdom we lack." This admission that the creators had returned seeking guidance from their creation stunned the human representatives. For all their technological superiority, the Anunnaki had recognized something valuable in humanity's evolutionary journey. "You developed in harmony with your world," Ninma explained. "Rather than forcing your environment to accommodate you, as we attempted to do, you allowed yourselves to be shaped by your environment while carefully shaping it in return. This balance is something we failed to achieve." Over the following weeks, as more Anunnaki joined the initial delegation, a remarkable exchange of knowledge began. Humans shared their understanding of sustainable development, ecological balance, and cultural adaptation. The Anunnaki offered insights into advanced physics, medicine, and materials science, but the most profound exchanges concerned philosophy, ethics, and the nature of consciousness. Despite creating humanity, the Anunnaki had not anticipated how human cognitive structures designed for survival on Earth would generate unique perspectives on existence, purpose, and meaning. "You experience time differently than we do," Enki observed. "Your shorter lives give urgency to your experiences and relationships. You value moments in ways we had forgotten. This shapes your art, your love, your courage in the face of certain mortality." Human philosophers and artists found themselves engaged in deep dialogue with beings who had contemplated existence for centuries, yet found fresh insight in human perspectives. The Anunnaki, with their extended lifespans and different sensory capabilities, offered humans expanded ways of understanding reality. It was a true exchange between different but complementary modes of consciousness. As the initial contact phase transitioned into sustained cooperation, the Anunnaki revealed their proposal for the future relationship between the two species. Not a return to guidance or oversight, but a genuine partnership in which humans and Anunnaki would work together to ensure both species' survival and development. "We propose the establishment of joint settlements on Earth, Mars, and eventually beyond," Enki explained to a special session of the United Nations General Assembly, his words broadcast to billions worldwide. "Not as rulers and subjects, but as collaborators bringing different strengths to shared challenges." The proposal included the gradual introduction of Anunnaki technology to human society, with careful consideration of its social and ecological impacts, joint scientific ventures exploring both the solar system and distant stars, cultural exchange programs allowing humans and Anunnaki to learn from each other's perspectives, and the eventual creation of new habitats suitable for both species throughout the solar system. Most significantly, the Anunnaki offered to share their knowledge of genetic engineering, including the removal of the limitations they had originally placed on human development. "We constrained certain aspects of your potential because we feared what you might become without sufficient wisdom to guide your power," Ninma explained. "But you have demonstrated a capacity for ethical reasoning and foresight that exceeds our expectations. You have earned the right to determine your own biological future." This offer sparked intense global debate. Some humans embraced the possibility of extended lifespans, enhanced intelligence, and freedom from genetic disease. Others questioned whether such fundamental changes might alter what it means to be human. Religious leaders, scientists, ethicists, and ordinary citizens engaged in thoughtful discussion about identity, naturalness, and the boundaries of acceptable enhancement. In response to these debates, the Anunnaki made a crucial clarification. They would not implement any changes unilaterally. Rather, they would share their knowledge and allow human societies to determine democratically how or whether to apply it. Your self-determination is your greatest achievement, Enki stated. We will not compromise it, even with benefits we believe to be in your interest. The choice of what humanity becomes belongs to humanity alone. This respect for human autonomy, perhaps more than any technological offering, cemented public trust in the Anunnaki's intentions. What had begun as apprehension about the Creator's return gradually transformed into excitement about a shared future. 1 year after first contact, at a ceremony marking the groundbreaking for the first joint settlement in East Africa, near the location where the earliest evidence of modified hominids had been found, Dr. Elena Reyes reflected on humanity's journey. We discovered that we were created by beings from another world, she told the assembled crowd of humans and Anunnaki. But in that discovery, we did not lose our humanity. We expanded our understanding of it. We learned that being engineered does not make us artificial. It makes us part of a longer, grander story of consciousness evolving throughout the cosmos. Enki, standing beside her on the platform, added his own observation. And we, your creators, have discovered something equally profound, that creation surpasses its creators not through rebellion, but through growth. You have become not what we designed you to be, but something more, partners worthy of shaping the future alongside us. As the first foundation stone was laid for what would become a center of joint scientific and cultural development, humans and Anunnaki alike recognized that they stood at the beginning of a new chapter, not just in Earth's history, but in the ongoing story of intelligent life in the universe. The creators had returned, the creation had matured, and together they faced the stars with renewed purpose and shared vision. Thank you for reading Before Mankind, the Alien Race That Built Our Planet. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more engaging documentaries like this one. I'm curious, which part of the world are you watching from? Let me know in the comments below.